the number. Oh, there's the number.
Jesus. Patience, Gia. For God's sake.
It just took you a long time to hit the button or something.
I think my finger, it had a little spasm that I couldn't control. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's either cold or the vodka. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Gia. In case you hadn't figured it out, we're drinking again tonight.
We're having a little sipping party of the apple vodka.
That's right, Dutch Barn. Cheers, Gia.
Dutch Barn. Cheers. Clink.
Clink. Now, Gia, was this seems just like it was a happy coincidence that you decided to get yourself a drink tonight, and I had just prepared my own drink. Right? Yeah. We hadn't discussed drinking again tonight.
We hadn't discussed, but I'd had a stressful couple days, and I'm kind of coming down from that, and so I mean, nothing compared to like people really going through anything, but just my anxiety-driven brain makes everything in my life kind of a bigger event than it needs to be. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but
yeah, I bet a lot of us can.
So I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm settling now. I'm settling in.
Decompressing a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I'm centering myself. I'm decompressing.
And for me, lately, I'm not sure why, but just about every day for the last few weeks, I've woken up with a migraine at around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, except for the morning after.
You've had the vodka.
Yeah. So
really?
As an information scientist, I figure I need to test that and see if there's something.
Like you're not clenching as hard or something.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. That's the only explanation I can think of, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. You'd think that I would have a bigger headache, Right.
The morning. Well, there might be a fine line. Like if you got a second glass, then you might.
Yeah. Right. But if you have one big glass, there's no need for a second glass.
One big glass. I'm not having a big glass. I'm having a little.
Mine's just a sort of a tumbler, but it does have the tonic in it, so it's not it's just sort of like a healthy splash of the Dutch Barn.
Nice. All right. Well, anyway, we are going to talk about General Hospital, and
we just oh, sorry, go ahead, Gia.
Well, I was just going to mention the fires.
I was too. Yeah, before we start, I think we have to send our condolences to everybody out in California who's
I haven't
suffered.
Checked in with the news tonight yet, but I saw that Cameron Matheson, who we've been picking on relentlessly,
like just beating him up as if it's our job.
Yes, we're being paid for this. But,
right.
My heart goes out to. I mean, that's just horrific.
Terrible. And it's a lovely area. I got to stay in the Pacific Palisades area back when I was in library school. I went out on vacation there and visited with Adam, who lives not in that area exactly, but not too far away. And I don't think his town has been affected, but I'm sure he knows people in those areas.
All those people evacuated. I mean, it was so many people.
And like, so many people have lost their houses.
Go stay with friends or whatever, but not if everybody's evacuated. Where are you all going? What an influx of people somewhere.
Right. It's a pretty populated area, and you figure like it's going to be so daunting to try to rebuild, I would think, because there's probably not enough construction workers in the world to take on those jobs, but let alone like in that area. So.
Yeah. Well, it might cause a boom of people moving there for the work.
For the work, maybe, yeah. But so that's very, very sad. And also the pets and the wildlife is,
Oh gosh, yeah. Imagine
for them
if you have a bunch of animals. My God. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're very sorry.
We're terribly sorry about that. We still hate Drew, but we don't. We don't hate Cameron, of course.
We have to keep it real.
I mean, if you watch the last couple of days, everybody hates Drew. So
everybody hates Drew. Everybody in town, in Port Charles.
Except for Will.
Yeah. Except for Will. All right. So let's start. Should we start? Do you remember Wednesday's episode? Was it? Yeah. We had what? We had Lois and Brooklyn and Chase and Sasha. Yeah. There was that part, but there was also Willow and Drew, right? Doing it? while the fire was
Right. Yeah,
taking. Yeah.
they'd gone. Yeah, we kept getting those back and forth scenes
Yeah.
of just like horror, Michael on
Yeah.
fire and then cutting to,
Yeah.
a lot of people online were kind of critical of that
Mm-hmm.
choice to do those cutting back and forth between the two things. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought it was effective.
I'm going to
Um,
say I thought so too. I mean, that's kind of a classic thing they do, right? Where they have
yeah,
like that sort of juxtaposition of, things that are terrible when you put them together, you know,
yeah.
more
And it just
terrible, I should say.
it really brought home like how guilt ridden Willow and Drew are going to feel once they find out, and of course they are.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of selfishness going on in the reaction to what's
Mhm.
happening to Michael. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people just going, "How does this affect me?"
Right, right. Are you thinking of like Christina as one of those people?
Christina, and I had to say, um, I thought Sonny was showing some like wisdom in his
Mm-hmm.
responses to her.
Mm-hmm.
Basically he was like kind of saying, "Suck it up." That he was kind of gently
Yeah.
saying, "This isn't about you at all."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. And I think more and more he seems to be becoming the father that he thinks he is.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which is
right. We've
good.
left the murder. We're just going to forget all about the murder. I mean, it
Yeah,
seems like
because
the
we
whole
don't miss
plot.
any of those people. None of
We
those
don't. We
people.
really don't. Yeah.
You know.
And that's a litmus test for whether you should go ahead and murder somebody or not.
If we're ever picked for jury duty.
Yeah. Like, does
I just
anybody
need to
miss
know
it?
if the
That might be. We might have found a way to get out of
way
jury
out.
duty. Yeah. I think we probably wouldn't be chosen anyway. But
No, there's a lot of red flags,
there's so many.
flying
Yeah.
out of our
Like,
mouths.
can I
Yeah.
bring my apple vodkas? It sounds like it's going to be a long day. I get migraines.
I also have to watch my stories, so I'm
Yeah, I
gonna.
can't miss my story.
Do we get Wi-Fi?
Oh, I ran into the some of the people that I told you the other day I was watching in the clubhouse, and some people
Oh yeah,
came in
yeah.
and tried to play cards while I was trying to watch poor Michael go up in flames, and
Right. Mm-hmm.
and this one woman was apologizing. So you were trying to watch your TV show, and we were, and I was like, oh, I
This
must
is
have
the
showed a little intensity about like, no, you're not, you're not bothering me. Well, I move closer and turn the TV up.
Oh, that would have been hilarious. I bet you didn't have nearly the poker face you imagine.
I don't think I do. I've been told that I'm pretty bad about stuff
Me
reacting.
too. Me
Yeah,
too.
pretty bad.
But well, that would have been the perfect opening to talk about the podcast too, like just to punish her further.
I'm kind of. One of my brothers was trying to sleuth out our podcast because
Really?
he'd kind of forgotten about it. Yeah.
How did he? How did he remember? What reminded him of it?
I said something about it.
Were you mad at him?
No, I was trying to convince him. He's a
Mm-hmm.
very interesting man, this brother. Well,
Mm-hmm.
both of them are, but this
Mm-hmm.
one, he's like a guy that goes down every rabbit hole that
Uh huh.
is in his path. And right now
Uh
he's
huh.
into sourdough bread making.
Oh,
And
sure, delicious.
so anyway, I was just saying that he and his wife would be great subjects of like a podcast or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just trying to explain to him that I would have to be the one filming because he would actually think people really wanted to know how to make sourdough bread,
Uh huh. Yeah.
and I was like, no, the funny part is you being so obsessed with all these
Uh
things
huh. Uh huh.
and your wife
Yeah.
being so exasperated by you, and all, like I would
Mm-hmm.
capture that anyway.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
I know, I've got my own podcast, and he was like, oh,
Is that the real tone that he struck? Or is it more
yeah.
of like oh, here we go again?
And then he was trying to find it, and I wouldn't give him the title, and And he doesn't know that we use fake names, and so anyway, I
Yeah.
don't think he found it. He hasn't
No.
disowned me
Okay.
or anything. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
anyway,
that's fun idea to think about at your brother taking that
yeah,
on.
it'll never happen because I mean he'd
Yeah.
really think, oh, people want to understand how to
Yeah.
make
Uh-huh.
Windsor
Make it
chairs.
real
Nobody really
instructional.
wants to know how to make Windsor chairs. They want to get
Mhm.
to know you, the personality,
Mhm. Mhm.
the man
Yeah.
behind the Windsor chairs, or whatever it is.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay.
Um,
Anyway,
another. I'm jumping around here.
that's okay.
Another interesting sort of real life thing that invaded our story
Yeah.
was, of course, the timing of the fire and the fact
Yeah.
that they set Michael on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
they did
guess.
come out with a statement saying that these couple of episodes might be, like a warning, like these might
Oh,
be
I didn't
triggering for
see that.
people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought
Uh-huh.
that was good of them to do.
Mhm.
Um, I mean,
Yeah.
this episode, seeing Michael being lit on fire was hard, no matter what.
No
It was.
matter
I
what,
found it really hard.
that's a super traumatic thing to
Yeah,
witness, to experience. I know in my very very limited time with soldiers, one of their biggest, like at least the guys that I heard talking about like fire and stuff like that, that was like one of their biggest nightmare scenarios,
yeah, I
was,
can imagine.
you
And
know
like fires in like being trapped in a tank or something, or like a
or like, yeah,
weapon.
just burning. Like you'd rather die, I think, than
Yeah,
survive like a serious, burn. Like, and his is quite serious. So, although it was interesting that they chose not to have it affect his face very much,
right.
right?
Because that would have been their out for
Yeah,
recasting. I mean,
yeah,
by the time they do it, they will swallow anything, obviously. I mean,
obviously, right?
but yeah, you're right. Like, because I was like, oh, I thought they'd have him totally swaddled.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I just wanted to say shout out to the General Hospital for putting that out because I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
sensitive of them to
Yeah,
acknowledge how like it was just the irony of it was like
yeah.
obviously it wasn't planned, obviously, but
Right, and that it hit Drew, especially that actor,
right,
you know,
I know, wasn't that crazy? Like, yeah,
crazy. I mean, because we're all hoping that karma, strikes Drew down.
yeah, but not we didn't mean the real
No,
person.
we didn't mean the real guy. No, we didn't. We didn't.
I
Um,
mean, you didn't have some kind of like little doll or something, did you? Not still playing with those little dolls and the pins, are you?
I have so many now.
So many, I know. Like, ow, I felt a little something right now.
Like in your knee area.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was
And then my
me.
back, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep, that was me again. Hmm.
Anyway, okay, let's back it up. Beep,
Yeah.
beep.
Well, okay, let's go back to the boudoir scene between Drew and Willow because that wasn't really sexy, regardless of whether they were flashing back and forth to Michael. It just didn't.
No,
It
okay.
didn't it feel, well, for one, creepy, but also Willow didn't ever look like she was completely enjoying herself to me.
Um, it, did she look? What would you say? Perfunctory? What did it seem perfunctory?
I love that. Yeah. She was phoning it in.
So early in the affair.
Well, it just felt like almost immediately afterwards, she was like her wheels were turning about the
Yeah,
whole cut,
she's stressed out, and
totally, and preoccupied, and
yeah.
yeah.
I,
So
I I was mostly just like skanked out by the whole like like either scenario. I was like, did she leave her children alone in a room
no,
somewhere else, like locked in a room somewhere, and
down
she
the
just
hall.
or so that would be number one, really
Yeah.
irresponsible. And
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, so and then I was like, oh no, maybe it's a suite and they're right there. And then I was like, oh, and
Hmm.
that's just creepy as all get out. Like that's
Yeah.
so
That could little Wiley could toddle over and
yeah.
open the
I
door
just
on
thought
them.
like, really? You
Yeah.
feel okay with
Yeah.
doing that? Bumping uglies? I mean, I don't know. So yeah, if she was that desperate to be with him, we should have seen it be more
Right. Like her
passionate.
completely like
Yeah,
surrendering to but it
yeah,
seemed like she was kind of like in it because it seemed like it was a bit inevitable. But
yeah,
also
because
it
he's like
kind
Hans McGee or whatever. He's just
yeah, he wasn't, she was in his clutches. And it seemed like also, I think, I think we are seeing that Willow really is not, not a whole person. Like when Michael summed her up, we're seeing that she doesn't know really how to,
is
I
she
guess,
tofu?
she's tofu. Well, I love tofu. I'm going to say she's more like, oh, sheesh, Gia. But
Like he
something,
kind of described her as she takes on whatever she becomes, whatever that person needs.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And which is true, but also it just sort of seems like she doesn't have, she's like hollow. She doesn't know who she really is, which is,
yeah,
it's
right.
more than
Yeah,
just like adapting, to another person. It seems
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like some sort of like, I don't know if it's the past trauma or other stuff, but it seems like she's really kind of lost, and it
She
feels
does.
like,
Yeah, she does seem lost now. Yeah.
and I guess she feels like her choice is either to like throw in with Drew because he keeps kind of saying what he thinks she needs to hear and what she thinks she needs to hear, you know.
I
Um,
I find it just kind of scary how quickly she went from like it didn't seem inevitable that she was throwing the marriage under the bus initially,
no,
and then
right.
suddenly like, oh, she's with Drew. That happened
Yeah.
so fast.
Yeah, and not just with him like sort of discreetly, but like really like
Yeah,
smashing everything to pieces,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And it kind of feels like that's sort of deliberate on his part because he at least has the presence of mind, I think, to know that everything they've done is sabotaging her chance of getting the kids or reconciling anything, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's I don't know. I feel like he's more at fault than she is, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And then, okay, so let's back it up to Wednesday. And so, yeah, the sex was not super sexy sex.
Right.
Um, it was
we
perfunctory on her part, and then
perfunctory.
she
Yeah.
immediately began stressing afterwards, and
Yeah, like there was no smile or sort of
there was
glow.
no smile, there
Post,
was no like,
I
give
want to
me
use
that
the expression
cigarette. Yeah,
post-coital glow. Is that a
coital. Yeah,
coital?
I don't think I've ever said that in like that. That may be the first time I've said that word, coital.
Coital. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do you want to say it a
coital.
few more? There we
Yep.
go.
Let me have another little sip of this vodka.
Yeah.
Say it again.
While you're repeating the word coital as if it's some sort of a chant, I'm going to have a beverage.
Yeah.
Ah, that's
Whew.
nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby. Ha.
Okay.
We're a little chilly here tonight, so this is a
Yeah.
warming beverage.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, what did you think? Okay, are we kind of done with Wednesday, Drew and Willow?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can return if you want.
Yeah, if we think of something, which
Um,
we won't. Mm-hmm.
what did you think of the big, long, overly explained Lois and
Ugh.
Brooklyn scene?
It was kind of like, I think that the time for like creating this story has passed, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't that interested at this point, except that I was disappointed that Lois, this is similar to Valentine, not like allowing Charlotte another option. Lois also seemed to be guiding Brooklyn away from talking to Chase, which I know is like soap opera parents, always have bad judgment, but I kind of hoped that there was a possibility that Brooklyn would tell Chase about this past
Yeah,
pregnancy.
that would be, of course, the normal, like, of course you would have to do that, and
Yeah,
like it's going to come out
yeah,
in some way, like at the hospital with a doctor or something, there'll
like
be
yeah,
some mention
right,
of, they will know that she's already born a child.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but Lois is probably just covering her butt because the bigger
right,
thing
right,
that's probably going on there is that she
yeah,
knows that Geo is Brooklyn's child and she's
right.
keeping it. So
Right. But she must also feel like that, Lois must feel like that's going to come out eventually, right? I mean, she wouldn't
yeah,
just
yeah,
maintain this weird sort of secret with Lois, I mean, with Brooklyn having her son in the same house, right? Forever.
uh, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know, but the whole thing is kind of dumb, isn't it?
And it seems too soon to be freaking. What have they been trying a
Yeah.
month or something? It's like they're
Yeah.
freaking out already. It seems a little
Right. Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And also, I was thinking this is kind of beside the point, but we haven't really seen that much of Chase in a while, you know?
Not too much. He just comes in to say things like, "Oh, and it's our first baby," and to keep
Yeah.
hammering that point home. That, like,
Yeah.
are we
Yeah.
heavy-handed much here, people?
Right.
Um,
Right. But,
he had a scene with Sasha. That was
yeah.
all right, I
That was all
guess.
right, yeah, and they're another couple. Like Sasha kind of fits nicely with a lot of different guys, doesn't she?
Sasha is like a little slice of sunshine. Like why
Yeah,
she isn't allowed to have a happy life on that soap, I don't know. But
right, right, and it does seem like I don't know, like there's something about the way she is with everybody that kind of I don't know if it brings out the best in them, but everybody is more comfortable with her, you
yeah,
know?
she's just quite lovely, really, isn't she?
Yeah, yeah, because it doesn't seem like she has an axe to grind or anything, you know? She just wants to be supportive.
Yeah, yeah. Like contrast her with Willow, who's like
Yeah.
right now tormented and tortured and wicked uptight and um
But doesn't seem to understand that she's doing a lot of things wrong, right?
right, yeah. Okay,
I don't know.
are we moving into today? Cuz like today was like everybody just like
Yeah.
got reamed. Everybody got
Yeah.
reamed
A
today.
lot of, yeah. Okay, let's get into that. Should we start with Joss and Willow?
So satisfying.
Joss just completely let her have it, didn't she?
Yeah, she blasted her. I thought it was like, and I liked how we had the Valkyrie and the mini
Mm-hmm.
Valkyrie
Yeah,
both
she was. I was
blasting.
gonna say she was
Yeah.
totally like young Carly there.
Oh yeah, it was a thing of beauty, I thought. It was something to behold. I
Yeah, and
enjoyed it.
also I did too. And also, I thought it was fairly uh, well thought out, like the way she argued against this being compared to Cam and Dex and
Yeah.
stuff. You know,
Yeah,
she
exactly. Yeah.
she really sort of she could be a lawyer.
Yeah,
Joss could.
she's a force of nature, that Joss.
Hmm. She is.
We
And
did if we back up a little bit with her, we had the
yeah.
stuff with the gun, which I don't know how interesting that is that she's got.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know either. I was kind of glad that Trina, and maybe just because I don't want Joss to do something that she'll regret, but I like the fact that Trina kind of hung in there long enough to, make the point that she understood the way Joss
Yeah,
thought and
yeah.
acted, kind of like Brennan was doing with Carly when he was talking about how he thought Carly responded to grief and maybe, that translated to Joss also. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, yeah. But
So they're sort
she
of
didn't she didn't see the gun though, Trina, so
no, she didn't. She didn't. But hopefully, like I was hoping that just by putting that out there, maybe she kind of kept Joss in check a little bit.
hopefully. Are you supposed
Although,
to have a gun just in a drawer? Wouldn't a cop have it locked up somewhere? Wouldn't he be following every... I know a lot of people just keep guns loose, but wouldn't a
yeah.
cop be following every little copy rule and be keeping it...
Yeah, you think it would have been just as easy for her to find it in like a box in a closet or something,
Well, aren't you supposed to keep them locked away
in
in
a
a safe
safe.
or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. Well, cops. Let's see. Judging from all the other shows we've watched, and you've
Sure, you
watched a lot of
watch a
NYPD
lot of
Blue.
shows. Yeah, yeah.
How where do they store their guns on NYPD Blue?
They never take them off, I don't think.
Just sleep
Sipowicz,
with that lump
just sleeps with that lump. Yeah.
embedded in his like kidney. Yeah.
Ah, Sipowicz, so sexy. I miss him.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gia. Yeah. Sorry. He would
Anyway,
love to hear that.
I kind of thought, well, that's a little. It seemed a little risky to be just have a gun loose, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of freak out about guns, like I told you
Me
about.
too.
Moving to Maine and having people hunt and stuff, and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, and going to school in Montana, which is where we met, I was in the dorm initially, and there was a sign at the like desk in the dorm where we had to check your firearms.
Seriously?
Like, yeah. Like, what?
I didn't know you were in the dorms. Like when you first, I didn't know that was an option. Yeah. Was that an option?
Yeah, I guess it was. I think, yeah, because I
housing was so hard there. It took forever to find an apartment. Mm-hmm. Housing was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's got her snout in her drink again, people.
But anyway, yeah.
Montana was what? Yeah, that was like cowboys.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, yeah, when I did finally get an apartment by myself, the guys who live next door would put a chair in their front yard and throw their lasso at it, like practicing roping things with a chair. Yeah. Yeah. And the guy who lived in the apartment above me asked if I had a gun, and I was like, no. And he said, well, how are you going to protect yourself? I'm like, what the fuck?
what have I done?
Yeah. So,
I just want to write short stories.
Oh man, if I said that.
Now and then.
Would you like to hear a haiku?
It was ridiculous that we were all out there writing short stories together.
How do we not get shot?
I kind of wish we'd been shot. I mean, we deserved to be shot.
We did.
We're obnoxious. We were insufferable, really. I could have been eaten by a mountain lion at any time. I kept going out to those nature preserves and jogging and seeing prints of animals that would like to eat people. I just blithely kept going. Ooh, cool.
Yeah. Just all right, and sort of based on where we come from, you don't ever imagine that could be a new reality,
Yeah, I could be the dumb young woman they're talking about that was eaten by a mountain lion while jogging in the nature preserve.
But she wrote some great short fiction.
She had some wonderful short stories. Anyway,
money well spent.
General Hospital.
Yeah. Okay, so we had Joss.
So Joss I thought she nailed Willow to the wall, and I loved how Willow reached a boiling point. Like, that's enough, like a little school teacher. Like, okay, you're no longer in control of this. Like, Joss has just handed you your ass,
Yeah, and Willow, she never really had anything to say. But it didn't seem like she quite comprehended where Joss was coming from.
No, right? No. She was. I mean, and I kind of get like the and you do too. You've got brothers, and you're protective of your brothers. I remember meeting my brother's girlfriends or whatever over the years, and be like, she's not good enough for him. Just.
Although currently the boyfriend, girlfriend, I think my brothers have lovely girlfriends. Go ahead.
Oh, and just in case they're listening, is that what you're covering your butt right now?
Wink, wink.
But as a sister, you have, even though like you pick on your brothers mercilessly, you have the right to be the
Yes, you
one to make
do.
the final call. Like you
Yes.
do not measure up. You are not good enough for my brother.
Yeah. Yeah. And in
And
this case, everything Josh said, I think, pertaining to Willow was pretty much true. I mean, Michael had kept some secrets and stuff, but he really had tried his best, I think, to always give Willow what she needed.
Right. And I mean, the stuff they'd been through, like her cancer and all, I mean, just he overall, I mean, he gets dinky in business, now and then.
Dinky in business. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, he's like a kind, thoughtful man,
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was applauding Joss. And then the Carly Drew in the chapel thing, which came later in the episode.
Yeah.
That was cool because it finally got Drew out of his like, his like, I'm just trying, and it was like, he revealed his true self there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, and
like,
Carly finally saw
Carly, and it was like, wow, like that's who you really are.
Yeah, but I didn't. When he said that, I didn't understand what he meant.
I took it to mean that she, she shacked up with the mob, and so she should know that, like, she was sleeping with a dangerous man, and she hooked herself up with a dangerous man, and
so it's back to like blaming Sonny basically via Carly.
That's what I took it to mean.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, but that didn't seem clear to me at the time.
Yeah,
it seemed
it wasn't like a direct. I had to think about it.
Yeah, and I wasn't ready.
Good at thinking about.
No, I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah,
not today.
I can write a short story, sure.
Yeah, great short story. Yeah,
great short story, sure. That's like what the world needs.
No, does anybody like a short story?
Our poor parents. Like,
they're like, what? You want to do what? And they never. Did your parents ever ask to read any of your short stories? Mine didn't.
Mine did. Mine were so sweet. My mother. I don't know if my dad ever. No, my mother was so supportive and.
She was a lovely, lovely woman.
She and I drove out to Montana together. Like she drove. She and I, because it was a long drive.
Yeah.
So we drove out together, and then she flew home, and and we looked for a place for me to live together, and and I was like increasingly frightened by the whole situation, and she was so sweet, and helped me set up my apartment and everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
And we had a long enough drive that I got her comfortable driving the stick shift because we were in my old
Really?
Wow. Yeah, and I felt good about that because like my dad had her so wound up. Like sometimes, your marriage partner is not the best person to teach you something.
I believe that.
Yeah, and so I had her calm enough, and we were out there, under the big sky and like no cars, and,
Yeah,
so she was shifting like a champ for a while there.
You know what that sounds like, Gia?
What?
A beautiful short story.
I taught my mother to drive a stick.
Yeah, I mean, God, that's kind of lovely, really.
Yeah, it was a kind of a nice trip, but by the time she left, I was so nervous about the whole thing that I was, just verklempt beside myself with nerves.
Yeah.
And then I met you, and we got our hair cut.
The rest is history. We graduated from short stories to a podcast about our story. Cheers.
We were important people in our class, yeah.
Said no one ever.
Let's see. So Carly and Drew, that was kind of not so much Carly reaming him out, but they were just like finally revealing who they really were to each other, I thought, like
Yeah,
the thought that
yeah.
they'd been lovers, it was like felt very distant to me.
It really did. Yeah, like almost hard to imagine that there'd ever
Yeah,
been an
that had
attraction.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked how she sort of framed it all, like he didn't love her, although that seemed a little bit like rewriting history, but I liked that she sort of understood that he was all about like looking like a hero,
Yeah, and he just so quickly went into like, and I did this for you, and I did, he like
Yeah,
suddenly he
yeah,
was like, he
hmm,
wasn't being the glad handing politician.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
like, you are a scumbag, aren't you? Not
Mhm.
Cameron Matheson, who we like and think is
And
a
we
wonderful person,
sympathize with,
and we
yes,
sympathize with. We don't know him, but we assume he's a
yeah,
wonderful person, and he's just
yes.
reading lines, and we get that. We
Just
understand
reading
that.
lines. Yep, yep. Another person. Are you ready to move away from these two a little bit?
I'll do whatever you want. Yeah.
That's the Dutch barn talking, everybody.
Yeah, because normally I wouldn't
Very argumentative, hostile.
even. I'd like to declare this a hostile witness. Oh, I have to tell you something that you missed on our Facebook page, but go ahead and make your
Oh,
point next.
do you want to do that first?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our lovely listener friend Chandra, I believe it was
Yeah,
Chandra.
Chandra, she is lovely. Mm-hmm.
She sent a link that was for a craft project,
Oh, uh huh.
using all these different colors of duct tape.
You go, Chandra.
Yeah, and it was like to make a horse head, like a hobby horse head, like a
Wow. Huh.
yeah, out of empty spaghetti boxes and the duct tape. Yeah, and she thought I would really like that, and I did, because
Yeah, it checks all the boxes.
it really
Horses,
did. Yeah,
duct tape.
but it's the tape for you because you're like the one obsessed with the tape. We don't understand that.
Yeah, okay. You say you loved the gold duct tape? That
I
wasn't
do
me.
love it. I mean, that's classy.
It's like a whore's version of an adhesive tape.
Well, who doesn't like a whore that's a handyman? I think the Dutch part has begun to affect everyone.
And just
Anyway, I know you missed that because you. So I don't know if people know, but like our friend Keisha here is not doing Facebook anymore. So sadly, you're left with me for that Facebook page.
I think that's perfect, Gia. I think that's your wheelhouse.
That's my
One of them.
yeah, one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
I have to confess that the first time we had the Dutch barn, I did not finish my full tumbler during our
oh,
episode.
but
But
tonight you
tonight
have.
I
Oh no.
have 38 minutes in. It's gone.
Oh
And I think
no.
yeah, so I can't be held responsible for what I say.
Buckle up,
From here
people.
on. Yeah,
Buckle up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Is that what Betty Davis said? Buckle up.
okay.
If we're in for what is it? It's gonna be a bumpy
A
ride. What
bumpy
is it?
ride.
Yeah, but not buckle up. Buckle up. Buckle up,
Um,
Buttercup. No,
no,
I don't know.
Here we go. I don't even remember. We were talking about Drew and Carly. Oh, I wanted to talk about Curtis because Curtis
Oh,
was very
okay, yeah.
interesting today, I thought.
With Nina, that was a scene with Nina.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I'm liking that he's become a bit more ruthless, which I didn't initially buy, but I'm feeling like they're fleshing it out a little more, and there's a little bit more like I want to say meat on the bones, but maybe that's
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
What do you think?
We can finish this tonight. Okay, so actually, I think it was Wednesday that he was with Nina, and today he was at
okay.
the hospital with Drew.
With Drew, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
and how tone deaf is Drew? Like, read the
Yeah.
room, dude. Like,
Yeah,
don't
both
show up at the hospital, you
yeah.
idiot. You know,
Yeah,
like,
right. Do
God.
they really think that nobody, I guess, could they possibly, I guess, have imagined that they could have had their little tryst and nobody's aware of it at the
Well, they
hospital?
were like pictured in the news. You know, I mean, they didn't picture the tryst, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody else knows that Willow went there with her
Yeah,
kids. You know, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. Right.
or
Whether
just
or not they
Wiley,
were
I
in the
guess.
same room
Yeah,
doing it. Yeah, everybody knows she was there. That's true. Okay, go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I don't know
Hmm.
what I was saying. Um,
Okay.
meat on the bone. Uh, I was. This is totally unrelated. I don't know how I'm gonna like link it in, but I went to a park this weekend and I saw a little alligator, like a
Oh,
not a
really?
baby, but like a sort of
An
teenage,
adolescent?
an adolescent, and they're kind of cute, and they have
Yeah.
these little like meaty hind legs. These like, and you're like,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
and they're sort of like, they're like little tight
What?
little hind legs, and I found myself thinking like, no, that's such a cute little hind leg. I'd like to like put a little hot and sour, sweet and sour sauce on it and just bite into it, you know? And then I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, that's so weird. Like, what? Like, it's so cute. I just want to eat it, you know?
I've never felt more uncomfortable.
And maybe I was just hungry, you know?
Let's say that.
And you know, even as small a little alligator as that was, like I'd
Yeah.
be able to catch it and gnaw into that little hind leg. No way. I don't
All
know.
right.
I don't know what they're like when they're little. Are they that tough to deal with? I don't know.
Feisty, probably a little
They're
bit.
probably pretty freaking feisty.
Yeah. I think the fact that you imagined trying to wrangle the adolescent alligator indicates that there's perhaps a deep problem
It
with
might be
you.
a carnivore lurking within.
Yeah.
It just looked delicious to me. That little,
That is-
that little meaty hind leg,
uh-huh,
like a little frog
uh-huh,
leg or something. You know, it had like a
uh-huh.
little,
Yeah. I was going to say it sounds like a frog leg, that
it like
little.
had a little plumpness to it that was
Yeah.
just alluring as all get out. Yeah.
I
It
thought I
needed
was
sauce.
uncomfortable
It needed a
before, but
sauce.
I'm even more uncomfortable. I think you owe everyone an apology, Gia.
I'm sorry to the alligator world.
Not the alligator world, just the
Oh,
world.
oh, the world. Well, yeah. I ate alligator once. I at the
You think this is
Bangor State
helping?
Fair.
Oh, no, that's perfect. Yeah, because Bangor, Maine is home of the alligator. Hello, Gia, where'd you go? Hello. Oh dear.
Oh man. Hello,
What?
can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yeah. Sorry,
Uh,
everybody. We're a little.
did you pass out?
No, I think I moved the phone. I must have hit some button.
Oh dear God, that was scary.
Okay,
I
I'll
thought
move on. I shouldn't talk about eating alligators anymore. That has nothing to do with General Hospital, really.
not really, not really. It's a
Okay,
stretch.
what else do we want to talk about? We did have some other stuff. We had
Did we cover
uh
Curtis, or did you just talk about alligators while I wanted to
I
talk
might
about
have. You
Curtis?
want to talk more about Curtis is getting a little ruthless and you think that's hot.
I don't know about hot, but I'm buying it a little bit more. It seems like
Yep.
he's,
Okay, yep.
you know what I mean? Like it's not just sort of like them changing his character suddenly. Now it feels like there's a bit more going on underneath the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes him a little more interesting
It
myself.
does, yeah, and especially I think, um, well, he's trying to sort of like play the long game, which is kind of a Michael trait, I think, also.
Yeah, yeah,
So I appreciate that. I respect that he's trying to like become this businessman, which before seemed sort of like a stretch, didn't it? I mean, he goes from
yeah,
the
yeah,
Savoy where he was a cool guy to suddenly like heading up this weird like made up division of this silly company that Drew, never was that interested in. But
yeah. Which we still don't really know what the company's all about. But yeah,
we
and
don't.
honestly, I mean, he wasn't even all that mean to Drew when he was trying to stop him at the hospital. He was really like kind
No.
of like, as your former friend, dude,
Yeah.
read the
Yeah.
room, like being
Right.
here is. I
Yeah.
just felt like everybody was there, not in support of Michael, but
Mm-hmm.
like about themselves and their own feelings, like
Yeah. Yeah. That's
him and
true.
Willow and
Mm-hmm.
Christina and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, not everybody. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously his mother and his sister were there just totally for him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
um,
Jason, I think, was there totally
oh,
for Michael.
Jason, I found that heartbreaking. And
Yeah.
before they even showed the flashback scene,
Yeah.
I was remembering like he held him as a baby. He like
Yeah.
parented that human, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine
Mm-hmm.
having that kind of bond
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then seeing that happen to him. And
Yeah, and in a way,
yeah,
it's more. This is probably a controversial statement, but it's more of a bond than father son because it's like it's voluntary. It was completely like
right.
his.
Well, no, you can totally say that. I mean, that's like as an adoptive parent, you must know like that's a child you chose, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you didn't just have it, so you have to like it.
Right,
like
like our
like our poor
parents.
parents.
They were every day. They're like, oh, I can't do this one more day.
I don't like this child.
Are you sure she's mine? Maybe there was a switch, a mix up somewhere.
Mixed up. I used to always be like, I'm adopted. I'm adopted. Because, like, my parents were tired by the time they had me, and
Yeah.
so I didn't have all the, like, the gold-plated booties and the,
Right, right. They were
and
they were checked out by then.
yeah,
Yeah.
by then I didn't have, like, a little silver cup with my
They were
with my
saying, "All right,
name
we're going to
engraved in it.
celebrate
Yeah.
every other birthday, okay?
Yeah.
You're not going to get a birthday every year, maybe every 24 months
When I
to
was a
celebrate
grown
you."
up, my mother had a cup engraved for me because it was kind of a joke that I was always complaining about. Like like that's how
That's
much of a jerk I was.
Yeah, that's a glimpse into our
Yeah,
friend Gia.
yeah. But so I'd always be like, I'm adopted. You guys don't love me. But it was so like you couldn't look at me and look at my parents and be like, yeah, right, you're adopted. Like I look
That's true.
exactly like both of them.
You
So
really do. It's true. It's
I
true.
really do. Sadly, I look more like my dad.
Me
My
too.
mom.
I look more like my dad, definitely. Yeah, I
What
know.
happened to us? But
I don't know. Gee, lots of things. Lots of
lots of
things. Or
things.
nothing. Maybe nothing really. We had really lovely childhoods, lovely
We
parents.
did. Idyllic.
It's
Idyllic.
all our fault, really, what we've
It
become.
really is.
Can't pin this on anybody else.
Anyway, I was terribly affected by Jason in
Yeah.
Michael's room, and because I think that might have been kind of when I first started watching was the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Carly and her postpartum
Mm-hmm.
depression and Jason
Mm-hmm.
taking on Michael and all, which
Mm-hmm.
was like that was a pretty complicated storyline back then.
Yeah, that was quite affecting, wasn't it?
It was, and I
Mm-hmm.
and he was so lovely to give Carly the space she needed,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That was
um,
classic Jason, just accepting her
yeah,
limitations or not even considering them limitations. Just that's
yeah,
what,
just
you know.
just being there for somebody,
Yeah.
which
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
we could
that's,
we could take a lesson from that, huh?
I suppose.
What do you need right now? More Dutch
What
apple.
do you need right now?
What do you need?
So many things. I need to have made different decisions
Different
leading up to
choices.
now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Um, But anyway, I thought that was a lovely part of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm already seeing online all the recasting choices, blah blah blah. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. I don't know what to.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
if
know.
they kill him off, that will be something. I mean, they could still do that.
They could still do that. And I really hope they don't. I really hope this actor comes back at some point when he wants to. Because he had become like just like such a good character in that last few days, you know? Hello? Are you gone again? Gia? Hello?
Hello?
Oh God. What are you
I don't know
doing to
what's
me?
happening with my phone. I'm not doing anything. But anyway,
Okay. Okay.
are we close to our time? Maybe we should wrap up so I
We
can.
are, but yeah, we were just talking about Michael, and I want
Yeah.
this actor to come back. I like this actor as Michael.
I do too, and I hope that's true, but I would respect General Hospital if they just
If they
decided to
kill him,
freaking kill him. Yeah, because I love a bold choice.
I know you have a bold choice. I don't. I want them to be pussies.
It's funny that you say that because you have made so many freakishly bold choices in your life.
Emphasis on freakishly.
Freakishly bold choices.
Yeah.
And I have to say also, you haven't watched. Have you watched any of Grace and Frankie or Frankie and Grace, whichever it's called?
No, I haven't. I haven't yet. No.
Okay, I finished it. I didn't
Yeah.
need to binge it because you gave me more Netflix, which was so nice of you. But I
You're
went ahead and
welcome.
binged it
Yeah.
anyway. And
Uh-huh.
it's a nice series, and I have to say,
Yeah.
we always talk about like we like the friendships more than
Yeah.
the like, and
Yeah.
it's really such a story about friendship
Oh, okay.
and
Good. Good to know.
unconventional relationships and
Yeah.
not necessarily love, but
Right. Right.
it's I kind of saw us a little bit in it.
Did you? Okay. Okay. Like
In the same way like Rizzoli and
Rizzoli and
us.
Isles. Someday, if we ever are able to pull off like some sort of a gathering with our podcast
Oh, that would
family,
be so fun. Yeah. But
and if you guys watch like even one episode of Rizzoli and Isles, and then you meet us, you'll realize
you'll
how
figure out which ones.
ridiculous Gia is to draw any sort of comparison.
I think they know how ridiculous I am. We don't need to see us. Yeah.
No, that's true. We're both ridiculous.
And I don't know who would be Grace and who would be Frankie because I feel like
Okay.
I have characteristics of both these characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do I?
I don't know if you do. You're not Grace, which is the Jane Fonda one.
Okay, not Grace,
She's
but
like
you
this
are.
very, very uptight, waspy. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that. I'm not uptight and waspy. Huh?
I don't think so. Do you feel like you are?
I don't know.
You
I
are
think
actually. I mean, honestly, your background is way waspier than mine. So you should be.
it's. Yeah, I should be because we said I love you with crisp $20 bills.
I don't know, but you're not Frankie's like the super bohemian.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I have much of that either.
You're unique. You're truly unique. You're
I'm a mess. I'm a train wreck.
well,
A very
all those
very
things. A
cold train wreck.
unique train wreck. Yeah, we'll have another
Yeah.
Dutch apple. And
Yeah.
Anyway, it was an exciting couple of days.
It was.
Painful.
Yeah.
The burn stuff, yeah. I mean, even just our background with ER, we know all about this.
We know about the debridement. Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh, I know what you're talking about.
You might want to explain for the rest of the audience, but we know.
We know. We know. I thought Lucas was nice and supportive.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of like family going on now that I don't always think about the Lucas tie-in and stuff.
Yeah, me neither. Now, Gia, one more thing before we go, and hopefully you won't
okay.
go silent again because that's awkward and difficult for me. which you'd think that would be my dream, that you go silent, but it's not really, not in this case.
You should just shut up.
But are we thinking that Brennan was involved in the explosion? That he planted this device?
No, not Brennan. It's the other guy, the other bad guy.
Well, I know we thought that originally, but the fact Brennan was in this apartment, wasn't he? Was that where they gathered? Or was it? You're muffled. You're too close to the mic now.
Which apartment? What are you talking about?
Was it at Sonny's that everybody gathered for Thanksgiving or for Christmas? I'm sorry, for Christmas.
Oh. Jesus, I don't know. I didn't think about that. Oh, let's hope not. Oh no.
You're just so absorbed in the pants feelings for Brennan.
I know. I can't imagine. It might have been his evil assistant, though.
Possibly, but remember Brennan had that like line with a phone call or something that it's done or whatever, and we thought,
shut up,
slut, you're just a slut. We got through 55 minutes without fighting, but here it is, people. You're just a whore, just a gold duct taped whore.
He's just such a big handsome man. Who doesn't like a big handsome man? I don't know.
Who doesn't like a big handsome man?
I didn't think about that, but thanks a lot. I don't know.
Sorry.
I was blinded.
I know.
Yeah, so those plot points just passed me by.
I guess they're
only
secondary.
Only time.
We apologize.
As usual.
But also thank you, Dutch Barn, for providing us, the two of us, anyway. Maybe not our crowd, but us.
Yes, we enjoyed lovely moments of silliness. Yes, we enjoyed it.
We did. I don't think this will help our ratings, but what does? What does?
Who cares? Yeah.
Maybe a pandemic would help our ratings, but
maybe, but we don't want that.
We don't want that. No, not. Although that's what gave birth to this podcast. So
it kind of did. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll talk again in a few days.
Yeah, I guess we will, won't we, Gia?
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and stay safe out there. And
yeah, we'll be thinking of you, California.
Yeah. Gosh, we will. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Gia.
Okay, you have a good night.
You too. Night.
All right. See ya.
Bye.